Hey everyone, it's Gabriel here, and in this video, I want to talk to you about a conversation I had with an actual billionaire. And back then, he was like the top 10 richest man in Singapore. I'm not sure about now, but this is just a few years ago, and I learned a very simple yet profound lesson that I've used and applied in every of my business, and it has allowed us to grow extremely fast. And the reason why I want to share this today is because I believe that you can use it and you can apply it into your specific business to help you to grow faster. So here's basically what happened, and here's the story. What happened was that a couple of years back, I was into running some food and beverage business, F&B business, and I remember that I was, I had another partner, and what we wanted to do was to go to this shopping mall with a lot of traffic, a lot of people, and we wanted to rent a very small shop. We're talking about as small as I think it was just like 300 or 400 square feet. It wasn't big. It was just a shop just to sell drinks. And the rental wasn't very expensive. The rental was around the range of I think it was $3,000 a month. It was not a big deal, right? It was just a small shop. So what happened was that we wanted to rent this place, and we got connected to the landlord, and we found that the landlord was a corporate landlord, which means it's a pretty big landlord that owns a lot of unit. And so when we wanted to rent that unit, right, we actually got a call directly from the landlord office saying that the landlord wants to meet us. And we're just thinking, it's kind of weird. Usually landlord would not want to meet their tenants, especially if we are just renting a small space, $3,000 a month. Like, why would the landlord want to meet us? Usually they'll just let the agents do the rest of the work so they doesn't have to waste their time, because small fry like us usually do not deserve their time and attention. So what happened was that we went down to the building, and this was actually a building in Singapore, and it was a nice building, and we went to the highest level, and we sat in this big board meeting room, waiting for the landlord. And the assistant of the landlord said, just give us a while, this so-and-so person will be arriving in a couple more minutes. And what happened, I can remember so clearly today. It was so unreal. The man who walked through the door, I don't know who is he, but I can tell he has a certain aura about him, right? He has a certain confidence about him, and I knew he was someone important. And I thought maybe it was someone from the management team. And then he came, he shook our hands with a tight, firm grip, and then he took out his name card and he passed me his name card. And when I saw his name on the name card, I remember he is one of the richest men, or at least the richest family in Singapore. And of course, it wrote founder. And so I was thinking, why am I meeting a founder? Eventually, I found out that this guy is the founder of this property group, and he's basically a billionaire, and his family is one of the richest family in Singapore. And I was just remember asking myself, why does this billionaire wants to meet us, right? A small little tenant that wants to rent a small unit that only costs $3,000 a month. And so eventually, after a few conversations, he asked us a few questions about what we want to do with the unit, and what our plans for the unit. And we were just there answering as much as we can. And then after a while, right? I mean, obviously everything went smoothly. It was just a short 5-minute conversation, and of course, then he said, okay, you know what? He would just go ahead and pass the rest of this procedure to his assistant. Will pass us the tenancy agreement and all that for us to sign. We have a bit of time left, so he actually didn't get up in a rush. He wasn't in a rush or whatsoever. And then we actually had some conversation. So from the casual conversation, I confirmed that he was the billionaire, and that whole building is actually owned by him. And knowing that he's a billionaire, right, and I have a few minutes left with him, I started to ask him some questions, as much as I can, to really get some of his insights and some of the things that I could learn from him. And the whole thing was very rushed because I was excited, and yet I was kind of fearful at the same time, because I don't want to be wasting his time. So I asked him this question. I asked him, what is your secret to success? And then he said, you want to know the secret to success? Here's the thing. The secret to success is spend 5 minutes with everyone, no matter who they are, especially those that are seen as unimportant by the majority. And that was the advice that I've gotten. And he was a living, breathing example, because he was sitting there spending 5 minutes with me and my partner, and talking to us, even though we were not important. We were just a small little tenant. Like this guy owns the whole building, right? He's a billionaire. He has probably much more important things to attend to. But he was there spending 5 minutes with us, asking us questions about our plans, about our business, and how serious are we about renting this unit. Just 5 minutes there. And this was such a humbling experience, because back then I remember that I made quite a bit of money, and I was proud and I was arrogant, thinking that I'm better than others. And that there are people, honestly, I wouldn't even be talking to these people if not for his advice. But this billionaire, he's here talking to everyone, right? He's a billionaire. I'm not even a billionaire, but he's talking to everyone. And it's such a simple but underrated advice. And I truly believe that if more people start to take this advice, their business will not only grow a lot faster, they will actually even be happier in their life. After that, he got up, he shook our hands, and because he had to go, so he said goodbye to us, and then he left. So after he left, I spoke to his assistant, and really just to confirm what kind of person is he. And his assistant told me that he would spend time to talk to everybody in the building. And I think everybody meant the security guard, the janitor, and he would spend 5 minutes to really have conversation and have a relationship with these people. So over the years, I've taken this advice seriously because it came from a billionaire, and here's what I found out. You see, when you start to spend 5 minutes to talk to everybody without any judgment, what you get is you get information when you spend time with people. And when you spend 5 minutes with everyone, you get insights or details that you might have missed out, especially when you're trying to make an important decision if you are a leader in an organization or if you're a leader in a business. You see, whenever you're a leader and whenever you need to make an important decision, it could be changing the direction of the company. It could be thinking about acquiring a company. It could be thinking about starting a new business or creating a new product. And as a leader, you need to gather as much information as possible and different perspective to make that important decision. And many a times, just by spending 5 minutes with people who are seemingly unimportant will give you a certain perspective that you need to give you the extra edge when you make a decision. So here's an example. If you're going to start a business in a certain location, it definitely helps to go around these places, go to different shops in these places. For example, go to a coffee shop and talk to the cashier that's nearby this location, right? Because if you're not there, you don't live there, you don't work there, you don't understand this location as well as they do. And just spending 5 minutes talking to security guards nearby or talking to coffee shop cashiers nearby, they will tell you things and insights that in that 5 minutes, they will tell you more insights, more that you can gather by searching online. Because they know the location, they live there, they work there. Ask them questions like, what do they like about the area, right? About the location. What do they like about it? What do they not like about it, right? What are the traffic like at this certain timing? Is it very busy always at this timing? You get a lot of insights just by having a 5 minute conversation. This also applies if you're trying to acquire a company, right? It helps to understand the culture of a company that you're trying to acquire. And so, if you go to the office and you spend just 5 minutes with some of the people there working in the office, ask them about how's the culture like, how's their boss like, maybe even the janitor can give you information that you need when you're making a decision. And so here's how I apply in my business, and I believe that you can apply in yours as well. Number one is that I use this to speak to every of my team members. Other than speaking externally to people, it's also about speaking to internal people. So people who are in your company. And always take the mindset of, what do you know that I don't, right? As leaders of the company, a lot of times we tend to think that we know a lot. We tend to think that, what can you really teach me? But if you really just humble down and think about it, there are things that your team members, there are things that your employees will know that you do not know because they are in the front line, especially the frontline team members, right? When I say frontline, means that people who are talking to your customers, right? So like if you run a brick and mortar store, a cashier, right? Speaking to your cashier, understanding about what's going on, talking to your customer support, right? Talking to security guards in your office, talking to people who are basically serving the customers and basically people who are forgotten by a majority of the people in your company. And you're going to get a lot of insights from that. There are a lot of times that I just simply spending 5 minutes or 10 minutes talking to some of the people in the company, right? They may not be the leaders in the company. They may be just a new hire, right? Just asking them questions. Why do you join this company in the first place? Why do you choose to work with us? Allow me to gain insights on how we can improve our HR and interview system, right? Sometimes just talking to the customer support team, allow me to understand more insights about our customer. Because sometimes when I speak to the customer directly and when I speak to my customer support, they give me different answers, right? Especially when my customers, when they're trying to speak to me, especially if they know who I am, they will speak nicer to me, right? But when they speak to my customer support, they may not be as nice, right? So sometimes I understand things that I don't see if I don't even speak to them in the first place. And once again, I always take this approach. What do you know that I don't, right? Because I want to learn from you. I want to know, what's going on in your department, in your area, in what you are doing. And so it helps me to make better decisions on how to improve the system and processes, or even creating better products for the company and improving the customer experience. So this is one way that you can do it, which is to speak to people internally and spend 5 minutes if you can, to speak to as many people in the company as possible, especially if you're trying to make any important decision. The next one is, of course, speaking to customers. Now, I know this is a given. If you are in sales, you're already talking to the customer all the time. But what do I mean by speaking to your customers? Especially if you sell e-commerce product, especially if you sell things online, you don't necessarily talk to your customers all the time. And what happens is that sometimes I even take up the role of customer support, right? Because when my customer support is doing the customer support, right, they may not see things in a different way that I can see when I'm actually doing it, right? I may not hear certain questions the way they put it to me. And so a lot of times I gain insights, right? Like recently I launched a software company, and you see, for a software company, most people do not want to do the customer support role because there's a lot of questions coming in, and some of the questions are really simple questions, and people will always think that, like, if you're the CEO of a company, or a leader of a company, you shouldn't be wasting time on this question. Though I agree, right? Because these are things that should be left done for the experts, the people who knows how to handle the customers. But once in a while, I will check in, and once in a while, I'll look at some of the tickets that are being answered, and I will help my customer support team to try to answer those tickets for them. Because by knowing what's going on, right, going down to the front line, hearing from the customers directly, hearing their feedback, allows me to think about what can I change in my processes and system that will even make the problem irrelevant, so that the customers will no longer be asking these questions in the first place. And this has allowed us to grow a lot faster. It has given me insights also on how to make my product better and how I can sell better in order to increase my conversion of my sales funnel. Long story short, just by spending 5 minutes with people around you, you gain insights to grow faster and to become more profitable in ways that you can never understand when you're surrounded by the same people and trapped in a box. Especially if you're the boss and you don't speak to people outside of your circle, then you never know that you might be surrounded by yes men who's just saying yes to you because you are their boss and you pay them salary. And of course, number 3 is you're just simply happier when you spend 5 minutes with people. See, at the end of the day, it's really not about the money, the profits, the car, the properties you own, the buildings you buy, and all this material stuff. I truly believe that in order to be happy is really about the meaningful relationships that we have formed along the way in our journey. So if you just spend 5 minutes to talk to every single one and truly listen and take time to care for each other, I truly believe that you'll be happier and that the world will be a better place. So let me know if this video speaks to you and which part of this video is valuable to you. Let me know what's your biggest takeaway in the comment section and how you can apply this into your business. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this video so that YouTube will push this video to more people who needs to watch this. So that's all I have for you today. Bye for now.